Again. It happened again. From the exact same move. Hey, stop. I guess we better get on with the show. Kia ora. What's up, people? It's me, Bix, and this is Don't Call Me Diva. We're slightly upset, but we're getting over it. But usually we talk AEW and affiliated women's wrestling. We keep this show in the realm of kayfabe here. In doing so, we may get slightly dramatic. We have created quite a bit of lore here in Divaville. This is episode 40. Can you believe it? We're almost got as many episodes as I am old. That is incredible. Oh, what are we going to do for 44? Who cares? So, if you are new and want to know more about me and why we are here, go check out episode 1. Okay? And the playlist. Off you go. But then come back. I spied with my little eye something beginning with mother. And it was Mother Wayne mothering all over the AEW Instagram with word that the fruit of her loins is back in action. I believe we shall be seeing the matriarch very soon. Mm. The inspiration, Cassie and Jesse, who are looking very scarily similar. Had some, if you can believe it, the Brawling Birds, the other newest tag team on our tag team block, so to speak. They have had, well, they did have a running in with them during that House Rules show in Brizzy. Seems like the Brawling Birds kind of don't care who they attack, which is quite interesting, making quite tweeny, if I should say so myself. So they have their sights firmly fixed on Hader and Windsor, and shall be having a match next week, this week, next week, for this week, depending on what week you were in. I never knew that this match would be possible, so I am newly and very surprisedly excited. But they do look creepily similar, don't they? Speaking of Alex Windsor, she has challenged Syuri to a match for her new Japan Strong Women's Championship at Eve's upcoming Wrestle Queendom 8. Syuri had just gotten through a match with the ROH Forever Champ, Athena, and was flirting with her ROH World Championship when Windsor appeared on the Titantron, of all places, and made her challenge for her strong title. Our former Cosmic World Champion, Chris Statlander, will also be at this pay-per-view, defending her Eve International Championship match against certain Kiwi by the name of who you may all know as Dakota Kai. And this makes me smile for like a multitude of reasons. Do I really need to get into it? No. So we have to be watching that one, people. Two on the same pay-per-view, by the way, on two singing wrestling goddesses will be facing one another. Harley Cameron will be fighting the wonderful Amira. We love her. We've only spoken about her because she's come out with her wonderful man, but this time she shall be fighting. And I bet you there's got to be some singing on that. And on the subject of one little Harley Cameron, hmm. If you were still on that little cesspit of piece of crap known globally as Twitter, then I suggest you redirect your priorities and get the fuck off there, okay? Those bunch of rotten not going to give them space. People have bullied unrightfully a lovely person of that particular app, which you can't really be too bad of because if she gets to the app, and that's a great thing, but not in that way. Okay? Not in that way. That's not how we want it. Remember, don't be a dick, people. But also on the subject of Harley Cameron, her tag partner, our double champ, Willow, will be facing off against Nina Samuels, who we've also spoken about, but that's just for a tag. No, it's not for a tag. Why did I say tag? Why did I look up into the sky and say tag? Who knows why my focus is the focus there? We're trying real hard. So yeah, she's just facing up against Nina Samuels for like the funsies. That's going to be a good match. Azumi will fight Sapphire Reed. Haven't heard of her. Do you know of her? If you had, please write it in said comments. And the Eve Tag Team Champions, Lali, who I also don't know, are having a title match against a Charlie Evans. And the reason why I bring this up, you may be wondering, is because her tag partner is a mystery. And very recently, she had a match on ROH against our own dear Mina Shirakawa. And that match ended very amicably, both shaking each other's hands and having quite the respect for one another. And I'm not saying that just because of that I am alluding that it's got to be her tag partner. But considering everyone else who's on this card, could be fun to pretend and play. We'll see what happens, shall we? That will be when is it? 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 The 8th of March in London. So that's very close. It's like in 4 days of recording. But before I go away from that exciting news, another reason you may need to watch this pay-per-view, I don't know if you do because it's already fantastic, but there is a sudden death 16 match. It is called. Doesn't roll off the tongue, but it involves 16 wrestlers, of which not all have been announced yet, but we know our amazing Jamie Hayter and favorite of the show, Mayu Yamashita, are already going to be involved. So that is going to be coming up very soon. That is Eve Wrestle Kingdom 8. Okay? If you want to watch it, have a look. We'll be talking about it, I am sure. Now, season 2, you may know of, has come out, of Johnny Loves Taya. Have you seen it? I haven't seen it much, but I did watch the preview trailer for season 2, which is on AEW's YouTube, by the way, which I wasn't aware of until very recently, and it looks hilarious. So if you're interested in a little bit more funsies from Taya Valkyrie, go watch that. And her newly balded husband. See what goes on there. And before we go even further into the meat of this episode, I just wanted to let you all know, since we had briefly spoken about it a few little episodes ago, but the wonderful Rebel, who we absolutely love and did so much for the women's division early on, especially in those daily place days with all of those amazing skits with the DMD. She is doing vlogs now on her Instagram. Okay. She is doing some rehab for her physical self in a hospital, and she is helping with speech therapy doing these vlogs, if that makes any sense. So you don't have to get updates through me anymore. You can get updates straight from Rebel. And that's good. She's doing. It's a lot. It's a lot. But yeah. Just thought I'd let you know, since we had spoken about the wonderful Rebel. And before we get on with the land of AEW, we must bring the mood up with an update from the patron saint of DCMD, Layla Gray. Just wanted to let you all know, if you lucky people are in Las Vegas around the Wobbly Wobbly Mania 42 week, she is going to be at WrestleCon. So if you are lucky enough to meet our dear Miss Gray, please say hi from all of us, okay? Because none of us can afford to go to that kind of shit. But we love it. Have fun, Miss Layla Gray. Honestly, before we go check out her Instagram. Literally, death, 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 death. She is illegal. She's so hot. Goodbye, Miss Layla Gray. What was that one? It is time for dynamite. Now that I have gotten all of what I wanted to say at the beginning of this episode out of the way, we explode literally and figuratively into this episode, which is in, where are we? Denver, Colorado, which I hear is very high in more ways than one. This episode has fire and honeybee, which is brilliant because it means that we are in a fire and honeybee accepting venue. Now, I should be ecstatic as I am lifting myself into being, and we should be celebrating beyond celebrations. I've just whacked myself. See, this just shows how badly this day is going. But we're not, are we? We're not. Instead, we get to relive another, like, legit injury to the wonderful. We don't want her to hear this. We have to listen to another injury and relive it for the amazing Penelope Ford with another fucking Orihara moonsault. Good. I mean, it's a brilliant move. It looks amazing, but this is like twice in such a small amount of time in different appendages. So yeah, let's do that, shall we? Babes of Wrath give a very pumped up promo. They are totally fine with battling Mega Bad for the titles once again. Bravo. Mega Bad are even in my favorite gear. And they're with Lena Cross, who's standing very strong behind them. She is now the strong, silent statue of a woman in the back. I wonder if they'll be like recycling. I don't mean recycling. I just mean cycling. Cycling through more and more like taller women, and they all become the newer, like taller, silenter, stronger woman in the background. And he's like Penelope, right at the front there. Ah, I love that. But moving on from my fantasies. Mega Bad tell the Babes of Wrath that last week was just a warning to them, and tonight they are actually legit going to be taking those titles. I was right there with them. But before all of that, guess who we have first? I bet you didn't think it was Marina and Mox. They are out first for this show because Marina's just got to activate Mox, which we view through the shadows this time, all very cinematic. She follows Sir Moxley past the Merry Riders of Death and out into the crowd. The Remarkable in her waistcoat era, Renee Paquette, is ringside to give us a match scoops, rundown, and history behind everything that's going on. She even gets the scoops from Marina herself about these activating slaps that she gives to Mox before each match. And she a very chilling way that kind of makes me wish that Renee had never asked. As is becoming tradition, Marina stayed completely out of this match and just supported her leader ringside. She's doing that a lot recently, if you're not the murder hawk, but you can't say he didn't deserve that. Now, the Remarkable in Red Wine, Renee Paquette, also then catches up with Thunder Rosa and Chris Statlander, looking like the high school baddies you had a crush on, let's be real. Stat is still real stern and concerned for Thunder, like for her match against Tekla. It's starting, honestly, to make myself ask some questions. Like, what does she know? I get that she is, meaning Stat. She is the one who has actually battled Tekla before, but look at her, right? This seems more ominous. I knew I wouldn't get that out right. It seems more ominous. Ah, she did it right. And to me, uh, I'm seeing a little, but anyway, I am very well known for going down the lazy river of embellishments on things. So we'll see what happens. Thunder Rosa is absolutely fuming, by the way, and has lots of fighting words for Tekla. She does not give any fucks about how dangerous this toxic spider is. But Stat's going to be ringside, so at least there will be someone to combat the Sisters of Sin shenanigans. They know I'm going to be there. Um, but then there's this one side of me that's like, unless she's a part of the shenanigans. No, she wouldn't. No, she wouldn't join forces out of some weird. No, there's been no mist. There's been no mist. But still, one part of me goes off into that little bit. Oh, and because of that, she has completely scrolled way past where she was in the doohickey. Never mind. Yeah, sorry. The brain has stopped. I went too far. There we go. My bad. So we were talking about Thunder Rosa. Unless they're part of shenanigans of Dark Stat. Oh yeah. So just as soon as I stop making sense, we'll jump into the next thing that I had to say. That makes sense. Does that make sense? We're trying to make sense. Okay. Moving on to the next segment. Now is the time. Now is the time. Prepare ourselves. The music hits. Like I said, Mega Bad wearing my current favorite gear from All In, the blue armor with the red and the gold detailing. Penelope Ford's hair is like all crinkled and gorgeous. Megan Bain is just plain, stunning. Nothing different there at all. And the new addition to Megabad, Linda Cross, is accompanying them to the entrance stage in red and black. She will not be walking ringside, so no shenanigans should be expected from her until they, well, no shenanigans would have been expected from her, if you get my drift. Fire! Yes! On either side of Mega Bad, and they walk down to the ring, and I'm so obsessed with them. I'm so obsessed with everything. The music, the vibe, the fire, the gear. Oh, my heart. Babes of Wrath. They are here. The wonderful, wonderful babes of Wrath are here. Don't get me wrong. The smile, forming, hip shaking beats of their music just fills everyone with joy, and the entire arena just starts clapping along instantly. Harley Cameron is doing her best, bless, to get me on side for this match with her badass all black gear, which is fucking really cool. And he was flirting a little with her black and white gear. But I shall not be seduced by such games. Bullshit, I absolutely will. They complete their battle entrance and then pose on the ropes, just eyeing the absolute adoring fans who are everywhere. Ref Aubrey presents the tag titles to Megabad. Ford and Bain admire their future titles, and then they get presented to all of us. They're so pretty. Willow and Harley share a hug and a shimmy for luck, and it's time to get this match underway, people. Our strongest members of each team will be starting this match. Bane gives the crowd a swooping glance of disapproval, for they are very heavily chanting Babes of Wrath. Willow is completely focused on Bane, though. Willow is a wrestler, just like Bane, and she is not intimidated by anyone. No one at all, in fact, I've ever seen. can actually intimidate Willow Nightingale. Bane smooshes the smile right off of Willow's face with a very, very disrespectful shove. Willow returns the sentiment with a fair shove back to the chest of Bane. Could have gone for the bait, went for the chest. This then starts a war of exchanging forearms, which escalates into off the rope shoulder tackle shenanigans. They switch it up, counter each other, but Willow wins the first round of battle and takes Bane off of her feet with a mighty shoulder tackle. We get a basking in glory gun show from the double champ as the crowd cheers. Rude. Willow tries to body slam Bane. Bane tries to body slam Willow. Neither work. Willow whips Bane into the ropes and Penelope Ford tags in. They double team up on Willow with a dual double boot situation into a cheeky roll up, but Penelope cannot keep her down for the pin. Penelope lets out a yell of frustration in the general direction of the ref, but then turns attention back onto Willow. Willow recovers quicker than Penelope would have liked, and soon Ford finds herself in the corner of the ring, just being slammed into the turnbuckles by multiple forearms from Willow. The crowd cheerfully counts along while Penelope gets the ear pounded out of her. And even though this is highly illegal and clearly going on for longer than 5 because we're all counting along and we're at goddamn 9, the ref Aubrey just allows this to continue. Do I even need to say rude? Because it's rude. Willow ripcords Penelope out of the corner and pulls her into a stiff lariat. There is no love lost between these two teams, and Ford hits the mat with a very loud thud. The Babes of Wrath sprint into action after a tag run through Penelope Ford. Willow then flattens her with a running spear. Oh, not a running spear, it was a running super crossbody off the ropes. Harley knocks her head off with a beautiful running knee, and then they combine for the backpack senton, which I like to call double the fun, as I have literally just made it. And Harley covers Penelope for the pin. It's a pin she was bound to kick out of, by the way. But the Megasis has also come into the ring and was mid-senton when Harley rolls out way and Megasis's Mega Sentons down onto her own partner. Why Megan Bane thought she had to break up the pin with a senton, we do not know. But never mind. Bane at least checks on Penelope and helps her to her feet. They gather on the ropes, potentially to give Ford a chance to, tag out to Bane properly. But before they can do anything at all productive, Babes of Wrath grab an arm and attempt to whip Megabad into something, but a little fancy footwork some counters, and then things still end up going bad for Megabad, and they just get sent over the ropes as was initially intended. Megan goes over the top and lands onto the ground, whereas Penelope backflips over the top rope, but when she comes down, her left foot lands on the apron, but not her right, and then she just kind of clunks down onto her foot like that. And considering it's her right ankle that she sprains when she falls in, oh, that couldn't have helped doing that real early into the match. But never mind. Oh dear. Babes of Wrath bash boobs in celebration, which starts a Babes of Wrath chant from the crowd. Harley and Willow go out of the ring to retrieve Megabad. Willow bashes Penelope between the ring and the barricade consecutively until Willow takes a bit too long winding up another rather stiff lariat, and Penelope Ford gets enough time to duck and she escapes all of that. Harley is dealing with the Megasis, and with the power of wrath behind her, along with some revenge still stoking that fire, broken nose and all, And she is doing a very good job at dominating Megan Bain. She rolls the Megasis back into the ring and joins Willow, who has once again turned the tides on our dear co-host, Penelope Ford. Bain, alone in the ring, gathers herself and knocks Harley Cameron off of the apron, down to where Willow was now being taken out by Penelope again. The distraction of Harley getting knocked down took the attention of Willow just long enough for Penelope to get a stiff forearm into her jaw. That'll do it. Willow stumbles back into Harley, and as quick as lightning, a flying Bane missiles herself through the ropes, completely taking out the Babes of Wrath. An absolute furious Megasis grabs them by the hair, pulls them to their feet. She holds them in place as Penelope Ford prepares to take flight with the Orihara moonsault. Penelope takes flight with a perfect arch, might I say. Perfect arch, my dear, and comes crashing down between them, still taking them out with her arms, but landing very heavily on her feet on the ground. And instantly, Penelope knows that something was wrong. And Penelope addresses us at home and asks us what we thought would happen. In hindsight, I thought this was going to be the beginning of their demolition of the Babes of Wrath and take those titles, but what the fuck do I know, right? Penelope gets to her feet and the rests against the ring. Megan grabs the hero of the locker room, the double champ, Willow Nightingale. Willow Nightingale is going, and drags her around the ring and throws Willow very viciously into the LED barricade. The LED barricade. Barry the Cade, Mr. Barry of the Cade family and his LED barricades, and takes a moment to bask in her Megasis glory. The Megasis walks back around to where she left Harley and rolls her back into the ring. Bane checks on Penelope, and all is not well. But Ford still has to tag Bane in, so she's legal. Ford rolls into the ring, pushes through the pain, and throws Cameron into her corner. She tags in Bane and confirms with the ref that we've got for real injury going on here. Penelope rolls her right ankle around. And yeah, can't do anything else for the rest of the entire match. In the ring, Bane deals with Harley Cameron, but now Willow has recovered and is back in her own corner. In their corner, like I said, Penelope is back down on the ground and has signaled for the ringside official to come over. And this is not good. But may we embrace in the fact that it is just a sprain. It is just a sprain. It is just a sprain. But holy shit, my heart went when this happened, because I was like, please not be broken. Please not be fucking broken. Megan slams Harley into the mat and covers her for a pin, but Harley can still kick out before 3. Megan is still focused though, and if she has to win these titles alone, then she fucking will. Bane takes out Willow, who is occupying the corner she wants to be in, and well, Willow is occupying the corner that she wants to be in, and runs at Harley to squish her with a stinger splash. A gorgeous butterfly suplex puts Cameron in a mountain of pain, and Bane's just gonna bask in all that powerful glory. She circles the ring, mean mugging the crowd, and just genuinely looks magnificent, I think. We have a Penelope Ford chick, and she is still down, using the ropes to hold herself up, which is not good. The Megasis knows that Penelope is not going to be able to continue this match, and she is furious. Not with Harley. I mean, probably with Harley. Not with Cameron at all. She's just furious. And Harley Cameron is unfortunately the one who is legal for her team and will be feeling the wrath of the Megasis. Megan Bain takes Harley off of her feet 3 times with very nasty, very short lariats. The crowd are booing, but that just fuels the Megasith, yo. She continues to dominate Harley until Cameron gets sent into the ropes and then comes back at Megan Bain with a little DDT that cracks the top of Bain's head. Harley still takes a while to recover, though. That was quite the beating. Willow is desperately trying to will Cameron over to their corner so she can tag in. Megan Bain crawls to hers, but there's no forward to tag in. Harley digs down deep, and with a burst of energy, she launches herself at Willow and makes the tag is that Willow has been tagged in and she knows that she must get to her feet like real quickly. Both wrestlers collide in the ring and they clash and so shoulder tackles. Willow sends Bane into the corner and plants her in there with a forearm, but Megan engages quick feet and counters the work from Willow. So it is now her in the corner. I don't know why I'm getting spicy about Willow. No need. Bane counters, but still ends up running into the arms of Willow and is slammed into the mat with a very lovely spine buster. She goes for the pin, but Megan still kicks out. Penelope Ford check? No more. While the crowd rudely chant, fuck her up, Willow, fuck her up. Excuse me, Denver? Do we need to have a conversation? These two powerful women battle it out, countering each other until Willow manages to slide off of Bane's shoulders and hits her over her head with a German suplex. Willow is pumped and barks at the crowd. I had noticed that during that flurry of violence, a wild Lena Cross has actually snuck in behind the timekeeper's area and has yoinked one of the tag titles. For what purpose would she be yoinking a tag title? Thievery. Now, thievery would be good. I'm always down with a bit of thievery. I really am. I know heel stealing belts is a sore subject for some people, but if it's done right, it really does amuse me. And this would be a perfect reason to be stealing the tag title. We'll see what happens though. Back to the action. Megan is on the outside trying to regain some stamina. Willow is up on the apron and she just takes flight. She lands a perfect cannonball that goes straight through Megan Bain and completely takes her out in any kind of like stamina she was trying to rebuild. There is still no Penelope Ford to be seen anywhere. So Megan Bain has to win this or lose this. Willow and Bane get back into the ring. Lena Cross then like just sprints into action and she does have a title still in her hands, but she's now in the ring and she bashes Willow in the face with the belt. Instant heat, instant disqualification, and the crowd is pissed. And if we're going in for like a little sidebar into real, I was confused because this was an interesting way to anyway, calls on the fly. I know nothing. Cross stomps Willow in the midsection. Harley rolls into the ring, but she instantly gets pounced on by Bane. She should have stayed. Well, no, because who really wants to stay and then like let their pound and get beat? Bane takes the title and then whips Willow in the stomach with it. She does not hold anything back. Like I said, she's still really furious. Megan puts everything into each with the title. And Lena just keeps stomping on Harley. As you could imagine, all of this makes the crowd very mad. And personally, I can't really be mad at Colorado for that. That's justice. That's justified madness. Oh, I'll allow it. Lena picks up the tag title that has been discarded and puts it across the Megas's shoulder. Bane stands over the Babes of Wrath and then just throws the title at Willow. Megabad's music hits. Bane and Cross just bask in their glory. How she knew that that was Willow's one to throw Willow's one. Now, obviously, in the reels, this is not meant to go down this way. Shit really hit the fan after that Orihara moonsault, which fucking is annoying. Um, I think, I think everyone did really brilliantly though to bring this match into a landing. Fuck, like well done. Like, yeah, I did think the whole why with a disqualification with a belt shot. But hey, that oh yeah, but whew, well done for like being like, oh, this entire thing was meant to go this way. And now one of our key players has just sprained her ankle at about what was it? 2 minutes? 2.5 minutes into the match. Fucking hell. So she hurt her, it's not an ACL, the AL something else. In her elbow when she did the Orihara moonsault at Daddy's place. That took her out of the being able to be in the tournament. And now with another Orihara moonsault, she has sprained her ankle. But there was that little like flickety flang with that first like kind of back off the over the top ropes out of the ring shenanigans with the feet. So, that couldn't have helped at all. So I know some people will do that move anymore, but I'm like, she's a grown ass woman. She can do whatever the fuck move she wants. Shit just happens in wrestling. But it keeps happening to Penelope Ford. And we need to come together, all of us, even you, Toxic, okay? We all need to come together and make this stop. Okay? Can we all just come together for a slight moment and put everything into no more injuries for Penelope Ford, please? And then you can move on with your day, but we just really need to concentrate on that. 30 seconds. I'm sure if we all, that's all we need. Oh, so it turns out, yes, this is indeed a sprained ankle, according to a certain person that I don't like mentioning. And I really, really hope it is because sprained ankles, they're annoying ass little cunts, but you can rest them and get better from them. Fuck, a break is way worse. Buddy, Jesus Christ. But hopefully it will heal stronger than before. And yes, this will never happen. Never, never happen. Never, never, never happen. And yeah, the bullying of Harley over it, grow the fuck up. The Death Riders open up Collision. Surprise, surprise. And we're still hanging out in the sassy Denver, Colorado. There has got to be like I don't know, we're gonna look back. There's gonna be like an 80% hit rate of like Marina opening up every show of Don't Call Me Diva when we start talking about AEW. Marina this time has Mox's Continental title over one shoulder and Claudio's CMLL World Heavyweight title over the other. And she follows the menfolk who are on their way to the ring. As Arkady Aura announces our band of merry men, we see that she is in a very gorgeous maxi dress, which looks to me has a very autumn-inspired fabric to it. And she looks gorgeous, I'd just like to say. Yeah. Marina hands Claudio his championship and he takes it with him to the ring. Mox is going to be hanging out in commentary, so Marina holds on to his gold. Now, riddle me this. When Marina gets her own gold, which we know is going to happen at some point, will she be carrying her own belt? Will she be still carrying everyone else's belt? Will she have her belt around her waist and then the other ones on the thing? Or will she then have her own belt carrier? Wonder in the comments. Marina is in a very cool Death Riders baseball. No, not baseball. Or was it baseball? Yuta. Why? From the heavens. The words have come straight into my brain. It'll be fucking Yuta. Yuta will be holding the belt. Of course it would be. Duh. He needs a hobby. Now that he, doesn't have any here. But Marina is in a very cool Death Riders like basketball tank thing and doing me the personal favor. Bless her little heart. Her hair, though, is up in a very business-like bun, and she puts the Continental title in a very safe location. I didn't quite see where that was, but that's somewhere. And then Marina and her rippling muscles just start to pace, as they're known to do. As the music of their foes begin, the Dongfellas family comes out to the entrance stage, and we flip to a completely different scene ringside, as it looks like Marina is leading a pre-match warm-up of push-ups for the entire Death Riders. Huh, that took me surprise for a bit, and I did cackle. Maybe I won't be telling Marina that, okay? We do not cackle at Marina should be a bit. It was just a surprise, all right? It was from the top, it was a shot. They were all, you were there, you know. When we go back to the ring, after we watch, Dong's fun or come down to the ramp, it looks like the Death Riders are done very quickly, and now they are very sprightly, bouncing about the ring. Interestingly, though, once this match begins, it's the Murder Hawk. It's the Murder Hawk who jumps off the apron and confronts Marina. It seems a certain problem has been on his mind for a while, and he just needs to deal with it ASAP. But from a very safe distance, of course. And Marina just glares right back at him. She doesn't move. She doesn't have to. He's the one that came to her to a certain point. Murderhawk decides to back off, and we see that Marina still has that key around her neck. That woman has deep lore. As she is fantastic. Oh, and she is fantastic to have on your side because she hypes up those Death Riders with everything that they are doing, and it is very quite encouraging. Murderhawk cannot help himself during this match, and he's just got to go around the ring and threaten Marina once again from a very safe distance. The family are currently in control of whatever's going on in there, and like any schoolyard bully, the Murderhawk just has to go around and gloat. Marina once again just glares straight back at him. The Murderhawk once again backs off and goes back to his corner of the ring. But Marina, this time, her eyes stay locked on him every every movement that he makes to get back there. Marina almost jumps into the ring with the family pulled shenanigans and knock all of the Death Riders off the apron. That was their shenanigans, but she showed restraint in that one. But when the Murder Hawk has fucking Yuta, dear fucking Yuta, in his grasp, apparently that is all the excuse that Marina needs to get into the ring and attack him. Shafir glumps her arms around the Murder Hawk's neck. Her legs are locked around his waist, and he is Murderhawk uses his very strong arms, though, to pry open Marina's, and as soon as she is in quite a bit of danger, not sushi, soon she is in quite a bit of danger. If he, meaning Murderhawk, can execute this blackout. But Marina is very slippery, as we know. And once again, she figures out his weakness. She slips her hands free and wraps them around the Murderhawk's neck once again. Murderhawk ends up pulling her off his back. She ducks his attempt at a decapitation via a clothesline, and with her mission complete, she rolls out of danger and out of the ring. Her boys win the tag match. They all celebrate in the ring, but business is not over for the Death Riders because Konosuke Takeshita has decided to make an appearance, and all of a sudden, Marina has to get right in there and try and hold Moxley back because these two are instantly fighting. She pushes Takeshita away herself once they have broken apart and stands between him and Mox. Not the first time she has had to restrain him and get in between him to stop him from fighting and potentially getting really fucked up. What would they be without Marina Shafir, the backbone of the Death Riders. Chaos ensues, and the Death Riders end up leaving in a very uncommon direction for them, anyway, straight through the proper exit and entrance way and out to the back. I can imagine everyone's faces. Would have been weird. Like, you don't go here. So when do you think we're gonna see Marina and the Murderhawk? At an Anarchy in the Arena? Maybe? Keep it bubbling until Double or Nothing in Queens, New York? Or do you think somewhere sooner? But we shall have to see. We shall have to see. You know what's going to happen, though. Marina's got a lot of rivalries going on at the moment, doesn't she? But now, here come the birds, motherfuckers! The brawling birds, that is. These two stunning nutters burst onto the entrance stage with the aura of the sun god from every religion known to man. It is insane. They activate each other, unite, and then stomp down to the ring. They're dressed for battle in their blue and red punk rock gear, which looks great on both of them, considering they both have like a different like color palette and everything. It's perfect. Perfect tag team already. Their opponents are two wrestlers that we haven't had the pleasure of learning about yet, which is always fun. And they are a Gypsy Mac and Tyra Rusame. First, we'll talk about Gypsy Mac, who is the one full of confidence in her battle pose. She has that very cool pink, white, and black gear, which is giving kind of a lingerie vibe. It has like those baby pink bows and suspenders. It's all very good stuff. She has about 6 years of in-ring experience and battles out of Las Vegas, but is originally from New Mexico. Hang on, that is the question. Because it's New Mexico in like Mexico, no, in the United States of America, does that mean that you say, like the Mexico? Or is it because it is Mexico, you say Mexico? Riddle me this. I do not know. But that's where she's from. And she is currently fighting for WOW, Women of Wrestling, which is a wrestling promotion out of LA. She has held the FSW Women's Championship for the Future Stars of Wrestling. It is actually a title she recently lost to good old Brittany Brooks, who is a fave here at DCMD Compound for her absolute tenacity. If you remember, she was the one who was recently demolished on Collision by the Toxic World Champion, but took it like a champ. Viva Van and Taya Valkyrie have also held that exact same belt for a very substantial amount of time between the two of them. And last year, Gypsy Mac had a battle against the one, the only Layla Gray, which ended in a no contest and was also involved in a trios battle against Miss Gray and the wonderful Trisha Dora and someone we don't know, Black Swan, but we're now very interested in. She was with Deanna Lynn, who we also don't know, but good old Brittany Brooks was back for that trios match. Gypsy Max, no, Gypsy Mac made her first ever appearance on the PWI 250 Top Women's Wrestling Thingamabobby, debuting at 137, which is one ahead of the good old Harley Cameron herself. And like realsies, I have like, do I care? Do I not care about the PWI and whatever? Not really. But I want people to be recognized, and if this is the way that it has to be done, then this is the way that it has to be done. Gypsy Max, no, did it again. Gypsy Mac has appeared on AEW twice before, though I do not remember at all. Once in 2022 against Athena on Dark Elevation, and then again in 2024 against Nyla Rose on a Dynamite. I do not remember those at all. Tyra Rusame is from Bangkok in Thailand, and she has a lot of martial arts training. She has backgrounds in Muay Thai, Taekwondo, and Capoeira. She is known as the Exotic Panther, hence the whiskers. And she very briefly held the WUW World Underground Wrestling Women's Championship for Underground Wrestling. And she's been wrestling for 10 years. She has also battled on AEW before, back in 2022, and she had a match against Hikaru Shida on Dark Elevation. And that fully reminded me that Dark Elevation used to be an amazing show to watch if you were like into women's wrestling on AEW, because they would have a lot of women's matches on Dark Elevation, especially. Tyra is also strong in her battle pose. She has long hair that turns purple at the ends, and her battle gear is black and red with some gold chains across the front. She looks very cool. Can't get any more information about our dear Tyra Rusame, but here we go. Hader and Gypsy are going to start off this battle first, and as soon as they lock up, Hader uses her power advantage to force Gypsy Max's face into the canvas. Harley follows it up with a very disrespectful boot to the shoulder of Mac, and Gypsy gives her a look like, "What the fuck, bro?" and like, "Fair." Gypsy Mac gets back into fight stance and winds up a big forearm, but it gets blocked by Hader, who then sends repeated forearms through Gypsy's face. As the crowd chant for the birds, Hader flings Gypsy into her corner and then flings her back out of it with an exploder suplex that shatters Mac's spine completely on landing. Jamie Hader drags Gypsy Mac to her corner, dumps her in it, and then shoves Tyra for no reason. I gotta reiterate, the Brawling Birds are fucking nutters, okay? Hater literally dances and he flips her way across the ring and then taunts Tyra Rusumi to bring it on once she gets into the ring. I fucking love it. Tyra has been paying attention and she doesn't hurry to look up with Hader. The two wrestlers circle each other, and as Hader passes Windsor, Alex tags herself in. Unfortunately, Tyra was too locked in on Hader, fair, and hadn't noticed that Windsor had gotten into the ring. She gets completely taken out with an unprotected forearm to the back of her head from Windsor. Windsor continues to beat down on her back and then plunks Tyra into the corner of the ring. Windsor uses Tyra's stomach as a punching bag and then tries to realign her spine with a nasty kick to the back. Windsor goes for the pin, but Tyra doesn't give up and kicks out before three. She is not into this free alignment. Alex rewards her by squeezing her head in a vice-like side headlock instead. She don't care. She's giving her services and she's giving them for free. Tyra manages to scoot out of it, but gets more stiff shots to the midsection from that Windsor. And then the double team from the Birds absolutely demolishes Tyra Rusame. Hader and Windsor bask in their glory before Hader mounts Tyra and starts raining down forearms. Windsor follows and nails Gypsy with a short lariat. She kind of, though, Conor McGregor swaggers back over to her corner, and I just have to publicly say we need to stop that right now. No, we are not allowing that. None of that. None of that. Thank you very much. In the ring, Tyra is getting her chest chopped raw by Jamie Hayter. Windsor attacks in and takes over. She calls so they can do this spicy four-handed chop, and all the life just goes poof out of Tyra. They double suplex Tyra, who ends up landing on her butt instead of back, which is literally the first time I've ever seen that happen, and it looked really painful. They set up Tyra for the two burns, one stone, and Tyra is done burgers. With Gypsy Mac nowhere in sight to break it up, the Brawling Birds get their third win as a team. I do love how they're doing things their way. Fair or not, they don't care. And I love that for them. They're really feeling themselves. Next week, as we said, they shall be facing the Inspiration. And I really, really, really hope the Inspiration know what kind of heavy warfare they are in for. AEW AEW women's wrestling style is definitely standard strong style, and then up from that. For fucking real. We are then blessed by the fabulous four-time world champion, timeless Toni Storm, who glides and swishes and twirls her way to the ring, does not hesitate, and takes Toni Handstorm in hers and plants a kiss onto the top of her hand. Timeless was not expecting such a delicate response and seems quite taken by young Miss Steele. Timeless is in polka dots, Zeta is in pink and black, and they collide. Timeless takes control pretty quickly and beautifully wrestles Zeta to the mat, putting all of her weight on Zeta's chest while squeezing her head in a side headlock. Zeta manages to twist herself around and use her mat skills and quickly puts a headlock on the scissors, my bad, on the Timeless one herself. She lets her go, though, and both spring to their feet, and Zeta calls for a minor timeout. Whew, she just felt the power of the Timeless one, and she needs to regroup. She decides to try for a restart in all of this and extends her hand out to Toni Storm. Now it's Toni Storm's time to get a little bit. Timeless caresses that arm and instantly locks her fingers within Steele's and pulls her in for a test of strength. Zeta quickly steps out. Oh, steps out of it. Yep, steps out of it. That is right. Comes back at Toni with a shoulder tackle, but the Timeless one will not budge. She encourages Zeta to go try it again, but Zeta still cannot take the former world champion off of her feet. Timeless pulls her in and takes in her musk, which is weird, we know. And Zeta Steel just bursts into action. Toni Storm is ready for this shift of pace, but gets yoinked in the Hurricane Rana from Steel. Storm ends up in the corner as an apologetic Zeta starts giving her smooshing back elbows, followed by a whip into the center of the ring, and then a brutal shotgun drop kick that makes Toni Storm fold in half. Zeta quickly goes for the pin on Storm, but Toni's powerful legs kicks at it too. Try not to be so apologetic. Just go for it, Missy. Steel tries to body slam the Timeless one, but she gets countered and is now the one getting body slammed. Storm follows it up with a sexy, snappy suplex, and Toni goes for the pin. Zeta will not be held down for 3 though either, and she kicks out at 2. Toni gets a little distracted by Mr. Daniels, who just happens to be ringside during this match, and Zeta takes great advantage of this. She manages to catch Storm in the head with her boot, and while she is still in between the ropes, Zeta nails her with a lung blower. Zeta flies through those said ropes and takes out Toni Storm right in front of the fallen angel, who is very proud. Zeta rolls Toni Storm back into the ring and gets a bit distracted herself now, but this time by the crowd, who have started to cheer for Toni. She shakes that off and continues to climb up the ropes. Zeta flies off the top rope and takes out the wobbly Toni with a diving crossbody into a pin again. But once again, timeless Toni Storm kicks out at 2. Luther whips the crowd up even more, and they start to chant for Toni Storm even louder. Zeta tries to plant Toni's head into the mat, but gets countered and heft over the Timeless one's head with another very snappy German suplex. Woo! Zeta gets to her feet, but now she is the wobbly one, and her forearm completely misses its target. Toni yoinks her again, and Zeta gets slammed into the mat. This one, she doesn't get up from that quickly, but when she does, it's back into the arms of Toni Storm and back into that mat with a third, even nastier suplex. Zeta unknowingly crawls into the worst place she possibly could. Timeless hitches up the britches and prepares herself for the hip attack. Everyone knows what's going to happen. The fallen angel tries to warn her, but Tony runs in with a battle cry and slams her hip right through Zeta's skull. She pulls her into Storm Zero. Bam! One, two, three. Tony Storm gets the victory. She doesn't get long to celebrate, though, because a wild Marina appears out of absolutely nowhere and is in the ring, ready to fight the Timeless One. They lock up and exchange heavy fists, but Marina gets a few extra stiff ones into the midsection of Tony Storm and she doubles her over. Marina takes this moment to undress, and when she should have continued to stay on Timeless, because Storm explodes out of that corner and takes Marina down with a Thez press, taking her off of her feet and pounding down fists into Marina's head. But all of a sudden, fucking Yuta appears. Why? Because he can't help himself. He just has to interfere. He's a fucking menace. He grabs a handful of Tony Storm's hair and pulls her off of Marina. He starts giving out about how it's all of her fault that he looks the way that he does, and to show us all what he is talking about, the cheeky little Tony Storm rips that beanie right off of fucking Yuta's head and exposes his freshly shaved noggin to the world. He books it out of the ring. I have not seen anyone fucking try and move as quickly as what fucking Yuta did when he wanted to get out of that fucking arena. Holy shit. He stumbles his way back over the barricades. He continues to run as Timeless proudly puts on the beanie as a trophy of war. Marina is out of the ring, but she does not leave. She stands on the entrance ramp and they kind of stare each other down for a bit. I almost expect them to re-engage in battle, but Marina stays where she is, and Timeless is about the place. Hmm. So yeah, celebrities. Next, it's the Sisters of Sin versus Thunder Rosa and Chris Statlander that I have named Cosmic Thunder. Original, I know. Sisters of Sin, Julia Hart, and Sky Blue appear hand in hand at the entrance ramp. Sky in blue with a touch of silver. Julia doing me the personal favor with a touch of red. They walk to the ring and battle pose on the ropes as fire explodes appropriately. They prepare themselves in the ring as the music of the former world champion, the Cosmic Killer, Chris Statlander, takes over the arena. Stat comes out in a plume of smoke, doing me the personal favor of wearing all black battle gear and very appropriately sparkled. Did you notice that Chris has a new ring entrance? It's fucking badass. I am loving this new stat. Wherever this goes, I am here for it. Just when you think she has gotten to a certain point in her career, no career character, she adds a different layer. This is very interesting. I love watching these little bits evolve. Evolve is what I meant to say. Next out is her tag partner, freshly back from injury, Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa is also doing me, can you believe it, the personal favor. Holy shit! In black with a little white detailing, to not completely pander. With a cute little crop top over the top. She's painted, she's crowned, and she is ready to kick some spooky butt. Thunder stares down the Sisters of Sin, who truly, 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 truly could not give a shit. And the two teams prepare to fight. Thunder Rosa and Julia Hart will be starting this match. And even though Julia gets a head start and runs right at Thunder. Rosa takes control with stiff chops to Heart's chest, and that sends her backwards into her corner. Thunder is not done, and she grabs the back of Heart's head. Rosa forces Heart to run with her to that opposite corner where Rosa just slams Julia's face into the top turnbuckle. She takes Julia back to that previous corner and slams her into the top turnbuckle of that one too. Heart cannot counter Thunder, but she can absorb the punishment and manages to kick out of a pin. Mildly frustrated, Thunder Rosa gets back to her feet. Julia Hart's amazing ring awareness kicks in and she scrums Thunder Rosa back into the Sisters of Sin's corner, and Sky Blue grabs a handful of Rosa's hair. The ref is on her real quick and instantly gives Blue a warning. She complies and manages to duck just in time to avoid Thunder's retaliation. It works a charm, though, and now Hart can overpower Rosa with some stiff forearms and finishes it off with a tag to Blue. They double team on Thunder Rosa with the double flapjack, we need a name, and follow it up with some kicks to Rosa's chest. Blue goes for the pin, but Thunder was always gonna kick out at two. Thunder Rosa makes Sky Blue pay for her earlier mischief and takes her out with an effective boot to the midsection. Crack across the jaw combo. Blue gets sent into Cosmic Thunder's corner and feels the revenge of Thunder Rosa's forearms, unfortunately. Thunder tags in Stat. Chris ninja rolls into the ring and takes a moment to glare at Julia Hart across the ring. From the moment she gets into the ring, this is Stat, right? I notice again that there is something different about Stat now, and I like it. Stat sprints into action at full power and crunches Sky's skeleton with a running back elbow, followed by a running boot straight through her skull. Stat scoops Blue up in a fisherman's driver and slams her into the canvas. Chris covers Blue for the pin, but Sky is still powerful enough to kick out at two. Stat's a little frustrated. She's a tall, powerful wrestler, and Sky Blue seems smaller, but she is just as powerful and will fight until she dies. So prepare for that. Chris Statlander hefts Blue onto his shoulders, but Sky engages mad kicky feet and escapes Stat's clutches. She runs backwards into her own corner, and Julia Hart takes over with the tag. Blue collapses to the apron as Julia Hart runs in to take Stat out with the art of surprise. But Stat's reflexes were tight and she stops Julia in her tracks with a couple of boots to the midsection, and then Stat runs Hart into those turnbuckles again. God damn it. Hart instantly recovers after the impact, which is very impressive considering it's got to be like her fourth, and manages to stop Stat in her tracks with a big ass boot. And for good measure, cracks Thunder in her face with a back elbow, just to be short. Stat grabs Julia and brings her out of the corner, but Hart flips over her back and stumbles backwards into hers so Blue can take the tag, whilst never taking her eyes off of Chris Statlander. Very smart. Stat never saw the tag, though, and takes Blue out and off the apron after ducking the incoming lariat that was coming from Hart. Shit goes extremely wrong for Julia Hart real quick after this as Chris manhandles her in the air and slams Julia down into the mat with a full force of her power. As Julia rolls out of the ring into the outside, where Sky Blue was also recovering, Stat basks in her powerful glory, and the crowd cheer their praise down upon her. Unfortunately for Stat, though, this gave the Sisters of Sin enough time to come up with a very dastardly plan. As Stat runs across the ring for the tope, Sky Blue scampers up to the apron with impressive quickness and boots Statlander right in the side of her face before she can fly. Julia adds to the destruction with a hanging net breaker on Stat, and Blue attempts to kick Stat's head off with a brutal kick. Stat was down on the mat and in a lot of pain, but not enough to allow Blue's very disrespectful pin, and she kicks out of that at one. Chris tries to roll away from the stumps from Blue, but does not roll to her own corner, unfortunately. She ends up in the Sisters of Sin's corner. Blue holds Stat in place by the split choke as Julia Hart cheers on her sister in madness and then tags in. Julia Hart turns into a running weapon with a forearm through the face of the former world champion and then follows it up with a strong running back elbow. Satisfied by violence, Julia Hart flips Stat onto the mat and glomps onto the back of her and starts choking her out. Thunder Rosa whips up the crowd to try and give Stat some extra power, and it works because Stat manages to get to her feet with a few rough looking elbows to Julia's midsection. But very crafty Julia Hart grabs a handful of Chris Statlander's gorgeous long hair and pulls her back down to the mat. Another quick tag from the Sisters of Sin brings Blue back into the ring and they instantly get to work. Julia gets into position on the ropes and Sky sends Chris into her trap. As Julia Hart locks on the tarantula, Blue takes out Thunder Rosa, taking a swooping run around half of the ring, and she sends a drop kick straight through the unprotected midsection of Chris Statlander. It's a great double team move. Sky is still unsuccessful with the pin, though. Blue kicks the Cosmic Killer while she is still on the mat, talking shit as she does. Sky mounts Chris and hammers down forearms before going for another pin. Chris uses her strong legs to kick out too, though, but she's still feeling the effects of that double team and is moving very slowly. Sky is in her dastardly element and plays around with the former world champion. Julia Hart does an invisibility spell and sneaks up real good on Thunder Rosa, pulls her off of the apron viciously, causing Thunder's face to hit the ring on the way down. And voila. Another tag is made by the Sisters of Sin, and we go into who the fuck knows because, like, the mandatory dance break occurs. And by the time we come back, the Sisters of Sin still have Chris Statlander in their corner and they're giving her the violent business. Julia takes in Blue and takes the hand of Stat. Julia climbs the ropes for her death walk as Blue gets herself ready for the running knee. Julia Hart jumps down from the top rope and pulls Stat's arm down with her. As she holds Chris in place, Sky Blue runs in for the knee, but a quick and smart Chris Statlander manages to slip out of Julia's grasp and ducks out of the way just in time. Blue's knee ends up going straight through Julia instead. The Sisters of Sin try to recover and regain the control quickly, but Chris has been activated and she demolishes them both. Chris finally makes it to her corner and tags up the very fired up Thunder Rosa, who is very ready to get some revenge on these two. The Sisters of Sin try to take Thunder out with the power of two, but Thunder Rosa is at full strength. Thunder Rosa pulls more energy from the crowd, whips off her top, and gives both of the Sisters of Sin a brutal drop kick each. Thunder drives Blue into the mat and then bridges into a beautiful pin, but Hart is still in the ring, and she breaks that up before three. Rosa easily gets rid of her and throws Hart out of the ropes, but she won't get rid of them both so easily. Blue cracks Thunder's skull with a jawbreaker and tags in Julia Hart. Unfortunately for Julia, though, Thunder Rosa ends up cracking her skull. Her skull? Oh, yeah, Julia's skull with a gorgeous cutter. Woozy Julia gets dragged over to the Cosmic Thunder's corner and Stat gets tagged back in. Julia gets sent across the ring, literally, by a brutal pump kick from Chris. Blue instantly gets into the ring to nope the fuck out of all of that and takes Stat by surprise with a twisting, swinging neckbreaker. Blue gets taken out by Thunder Rosa, who grabs her and crushes her soul with a lung blower. Hart comes in and explodes with fury, taking out Thunder and also Stat. Julia nails Stat with a double soul food, kip ups, thrusts a kick into Stat, and then unleashes a battle cry from the darkest depths. Thunder tries to take out Julia, but Blue is back on her feet and she throws Thunder Rosa out of the ring before she can do anything. Sisters of Sin regroup and reform. Chris unleashes her own battle cry and runs at them both with intentions of taking them both out with a double clothesline. But the Sisters of Sin successfully duck and nail Stat with double super kicks, quickly followed by their double gourd buster dual thrust kick combo. Stat is out and Julia goes for the pin. Boo tries to use her body to block Thunder Rosa getting into the ring and making the save, but Thunder just decides to use Blue's body to make the save, and they tumble into Hart and Stat before the ref can count to three. All four of them are on the mat, but they're not completely out. The Sisters of Sin and Cosmic Thunder battle each other as they get to their feet. Thunder taking on Blue and Stat taking on Hart. They make the quick decision to both run off the ropes for momentum, but that momentum just ends up sending them into the powerful thrust kicks of the Sisters of Sin. Hart throws Thunder out of the ring. I've completely forgotten now which one of them is legal. Blue gives Stat another brutal thrust kick. Sky unleashes a battle cry and pulls Stat back up to her feet. They try and set her up for their swinging Yanage, but Stat is fighting back with punches to the ribs of Sky Blue. Thunder grabs Julia Hart's leg and pulls her out of the ring like a zombie and sends her into the corner of the barricade. Stat takes out Blue and grabs Julia Hart, who has just been rolled back into the ring by a very helpful Thunder Rosa. Thanks, Rosa. Stat yoinks Julia, turns her upside down for Saturday Night Fever, and as Thunder Rosa tags herself in, it looks like they have some double finisher plans of death for Julia Hart. It's not a good day for me. Stat nails Hart with Saturday Night Fever, drags her back to her feet, and gives her to Thunder, who nails Julia with the Tijuana bomb. 1, 2, 3. Cosmic Thunder get the win! God damn it! As they celebrate their win in the ring, the Sisters of Sin disappear. But another member of Triangle of Madness has something she would like to say. Our Toxic World Champion hates nothing more, apparently, than two dumb bitches, and that's what she said, sees before her in the ring. Her choice of words, not mine. Tekla, her amazing rings. Did you see those rings? They were amazing. Her very wrestling battle jacket and shiny World Championship have a lot of fighting words for Thunder Rosa. And you can bet that Thunder Rosa has a fuck ton of fighting words for Tekla as well. Tekla stands on the entrance ramp with the aura of the most dastardly villain you have ever seen. And she just captures everyone's attention. Tekla makes a lot of threats. The ego boost of the Toxic World Champion Chip, I should say, the World Championship has added a lot more fire to Tekla's threats, and she digs deep at Thunder Rosa's core. Thunder Rosa, who we know is reactive at the best of times, that's why we love her, is furious. But holy fuck, so is Stat. We get like a glimpse of Stat's face. And it's completely different to the fury that Thunder Rosa is expressing right now. Neither of this am I pointing out to have any righteous on either side. It's just different. Stat is stern, still staring. Ooh! Thunder, active, moving, threatening. Ooh. It's a bit scary. But once again, the new little things of Dark Stat appearing. So Thunder and Tekla will be fighting for the title this, tomorrow, tonight, wherever. And we shall find out what happens then. Now, before we ourselves here at the Don't Call Me Diva compound of madness fade away into the black, we cannot end this episode without calling out Becca with a 3, who played the part this week of Andrade's love-struck fan. At first, I did not recognize her at first and would not have If she hadn't have posted up a picture herself saying that it was her. And now that makes complete sense as to why this particular Love Struck fan was so extra. Because it was the wonderful woman, Becca with a three. Oh, it made complete sense. Well done, woman. Well done. Bravo. Totally had to point that out. Oh, look at her. Look how happy she is. Living her best life. Go get it, Becca with a three. And on that, what are your thoughts on this week's discussion, my dear sickos? If you so wish, you can leave them as happy little comments in the appropriate sections of wherever you are. And if you would be so kind as to like and subscribe whilst you are there, I would be very grateful. Thank you very much. You can find me lurking around in threads, Bix_best You can find me on Blue Sky. I don't use at Bix-best but I will be there. Follow us on TikTok if you still have it. Don't Call Me Diva Show. Thank you, as always, to my wonderful producer, Shane, my excellent producer, editor, promoter, extraordinaire. Go check out the Ethos Network if you would like to check out more awesome fucking content. Join us at sickosclub.com. At the moment, the voting for the sickies is going on. Ah, so much fun. Go check out that. You have never met a more inclusive, smart, kind, and talented bunch of absolute silly sausages who also apparently seem to also enjoy wrestling at each other. This was Don't Call Me Diva. Don't you forget it. Women's missing rules. And don't be a dick.